Hello all. So in the last video I covered the build of this Systainer work surface based on Mafel and Rui's design. In this video I'm going to be making a roller for this stack of boxes, and after that show you some ways I've been using the work surface and telling you how much it will cost. For the base of the sys roller I'm using the rest of the HDPE sheet you might remember me using last time out. Around the edges of this, I'll be using more of the 40/40 profile to nest the boxes in. I've got this cool halter force tape measure that has a little point at the tape exit. This means you can score a measurement rather than pencil mark, particularly useful on metal and plastic. The profile cut and laid out, you can see where we're going here. All around the edge of the plastic, I use a marking gauge to give me a 20mm line from the edge, allowing me to centre the bolt holes for fitting the profile. Setting a caster in place, I centre punch marks the line for drilling. The middle of each edge gets a bolt hole too. Holes drilled out, the caster and bolts are loose fit with T-nuts. Super secure though the bolts and T-nuts will hold the profile, I'm also using internal corner brackets to stop any outward spreading of the profile. This next process is about as tricky as this simple build gets. The T-nuts all need a bit of a wang jangle in place as you slide the profile on, as of course do the L brackets. But in honesty, this whole build was a piece of cake. All the fixings are still loose here as I set the roller upside down over a Systainer. This means as I cinch the bolts I can creep the profile pieces into the sides of the Systainer, giving the perfect fit. With the corner brackets tightened down as well, this roller is proper solid. Between the profile and the heavy duty casters, the thing has a very reassuring weight to it.
Is in Sheffield at the lead mill. He's actually in the Rutland Downs at the moment on a pint, I think. Really? Yeah, just seen him on Twitter. A special set from this year's Independent Mini Weekend Master, Anna Calvi. Speaking of Anna, she's just announced a new EP. So this is
Hopefully you can see here that the Systainer goes in nice and snug, no movement.
I do feel like with this album especially we had more time on it, Ben and I, so even Ben had more time to destroy some of the songs, which but you know, he had.
And here we go. Really simple build that feels bomb-proof yet capable of an elegant twirl. Now I haven't recorded this being used out at work yet, but I can at least demonstrate some of the ways it's used. No big reveal here really, it is what it looks like, a sawhorse. I have been impressed with how solid and stable the whole thing is. I could improve it a little more by replacing the old Bosch classic Systainer with a t-loc, I think. They connect much better. The good thing about using the 40/40 profile with the 8mm slot is that it'll accept these lever clamps, a la Festool or Bessie style guardrail clamps. Bit of an extreme demo here, but you get the idea of it being able to clamp from the side. Even though there's sacrificial strips covering the top of the profile, the lever clamp can still be inserted in the end, which has proved extremely useful. A little added bonus of the roller being made from the same profile is that it's a convenient place to park the clamps until you need them. Moving the profile to an X pattern can give extra support, but also offer a nice clear cut path. It's funny, I'd almost forgotten you could open a t-loc as it locked onto what was above. Nifty. In this instance means I can open the box with the work surface still attached while I fetch out the Gigamosaurus. Not sure they do small enough profile to do a micro work surface for that micro Systainer. Another way this has proved useful is set to a pretty extreme X pattern. It can give good work support to both cut and waste side, meaning I don't get the offcuts falling around the place in many situations, especially used in conjunction with an adjustable trestle for larger work. Just line the piece up so the cut line sails through the middle of the X. It's a great little platform if you use a crosscut saw of some description too. You might have noticed by now that even though I've got sacrificial strips over the profile, I'm avoiding cutting through it. No reason really, other than this is still a relatively new toy to me, and I see no reason to mash up the strips just because I can. An accidental bonus that probably only applies to me is that in a particular degree of X pattern that I've since marked on the base, one of the tops of my MFT style workbench I made almost exactly fits on the work surface. So in those instances where a whole workbench and cart isn't needed or feasible, I can just use this setup, giving me not only an actual table, but also the use of all the dog and clamp setups I'm used to. Combined with the foam strips and the profile, do as good a job as I could expect. Easily off and onable, this has already seen plenty of use. So overall, not a must-have or an answer to all our on-site or workshop needs, but certainly compact and useful.
With our own online presence, our own brand, and one's beliefs, one's political alignments, they're not so much based on facts anymore, as they are based on how you want to appear and how you want your brand to work. And I think that's dangerous.
I had a couple of questions on the last video about the cam levers I'm using. As I said, they're just bicycle seat post quick release levers. If you buy any of these for this purpose or something similar, I would say be aware that the ones you buy have enough thread on them. Quite often, the shaft or bolt of the cam only has thread where it needs it at the end. The rest is blanked. I tend to look out for ones with the most thread on them so I can cut them back to length and still have enough thread for the T-nut. So what did all this cost me? Well, I initially bought a smidge over £150 worth of parts and materials. However, I haven't used all the parts and materials, so worked out as a percentage of what I've actually used, the work surface came in at a few pence under £50 to make. Of course, I'm not including the Systainer in that, as I already had a spare, nor is there labour included. But even so, represents a significant saving over the branded version. The Systainer roller cost me a few pence over £45 to build. This is still a saving over the branded models, but not nearly as much. This could of course be made even cheaper, but I'm happy with mine, especially as it's built like a tank. I'll leave some eBay links below to help you with sourcing the parts I used, and please feel free to comment with any thoughts or questions. Thanks for watching.